there. I'm Nadine Cornish of the Caregivers Guardian, and this is
Lemasters of CarePartnersResource.com.
And we want to welcome you to yet another episode of Tuesday's Caregiver Talks Outside the Box. And so if this is your first time joining us, Lori and I are both former caregivers, and we are now professional consultants, educators, trainers. We work with family caregivers to help improve their lives and to help make a difference. And so this is our opportunity to come into your homes, to meet you where you are, and to support you, encourage you, and give you resources and ideas and suggestions around the things that really matter and really are problematic day to day for you as it pertains to caregiving. And so
today's talk outside the box is going to be about family dynamics and family drama. That never happens for caregivers in the caregiving situation.
Not at all. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I come from a really large family, and so there is no shortage of family drama, right? There was never a shortage of family drama, but somehow it seems to magnify on the caregiving journey. And I think a big part of why that happens is because the planning isn't done, right? We don't have these important conversations before the need arises, right?
Nobody wants to talk about who's going to take care of mom and dad or what the situation might be. And in my case, my parents did everything. I think they thought they did everything right. They had a living will, and they had a trust, and they had the conversation about, when they pass, and this is, our financial advisor, and this is where you go for all that. But it wasn't the conversation about, the gray area. I call that the gray area. We all grow up knowing our parents are going to pass, or, a loved one might become ill or something, but we don't really talk about, so what is the circumstances in that gray area?
Okay. And so explain the gray area, because I'm still not clear what you mean by the gray area.
Okay. So for me, the gray area means the time between my parents were healthy and they die.
Oh, okay. So the caregiving, the time where they need the caregiving. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. I got it.
Because they took care of the time when they passed.
Yeah.
All of that was taken care of.
Okay. So
and they spelled it out, so there were no family dynamic problems, even though it happened anyway. Right? Okay. So, but that whole gray area of who's going to take care of them and what their desires were.
Okay.
Weren't spelled out.
Got it. Okay. So in my family situation, I always knew I would be that girl. I knew it. My mom, I think from when I was very little, I always knew that if anything ever happened to my mom, I would be the one to take care of her. But I never thought it would just be me.
And did you even know what that looked like?
No, of course not, right? So you get the call, and in my case, it was a pituitary brain tumor. And so, immediately I had to go into study mode. I had to go into research mode. I was fortunate I had a background in public health, so I wasn't as intimidated as I might have been had I not had that background. But it was understood that I would take the lead, and I did take the lead, but I expected people to follow.
Right. So did you know anything about formal family meetings or actual talks about, who was in what role?
I can actually say that I was fortunate in that I knew that we needed to do that.
Oh,
and so we did have family discussions. We had talks. We had discussions. My two oldest brothers were amazing and very, very supportive. But I knew I would take the lead. But the problem was in the beginning, we had maybe 4 of us living in Sacramento, and then the other the other two lived outside of the state. But the family discussions are so important, getting everybody around the table or getting everybody on a conference call to say, this is where we are. And here's the deal. Everybody can't bring the same thing to the table, but everybody's got to bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And we got to ask. We got to ask.
You got to ask and you got to let them.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Because what happens a lot of times is we have these unspoken expectations of friends and family and church members, and we expect them to step up to the table, and we are thinking that they're going to do certain things. And so one of the things that I do that I've learned after caring for my mom, and unfortunately having lost relationships with siblings because of expectations and communication that didn't happen, is I became certified in therapeutic writing. And I teach people, that's what I do, is I teach people to use a journal as a source of self-care, as a source of identifying some of those expectations, like, why am I so angry at people? But I'm expecting them to do something. They can't read my mind. They didn't know what I wanted.
Exactly. And the caregiver symposiums that I conduct for churches and other organizations, we always talk about the importance of recognizing what skill set it is that you bring to the table, right? Everybody's got a certain thing. And I do really believe that most individuals that find themselves as a primary caregiver in the family, they're the individual that really is gifted in that way. Right? They have the heart, they have the abilities, but more than anything, they have the commitment, right? And everybody's not wired that way. We are all wired differently. And that can be hard to take and accept when you're in the caregiving throes and everybody's not pulling their weight. And so it's so important to identify what is it that my sibling can bring to the table. I've got one that's really good with the books and handling the finances. That's the thing that he does. That's what he brings to the table. I got a sister who cooks, and her thing was glamming my mom up, and that's what she brought to the table, right? And then my baby brother, he's the spoiler. So, oh my God, he was always there to bring the foods that she shouldn't have, like lemon meringue pie every single Sunday. But that was the relationship that he had, and that's what needed to continue.
So as the main caregiver, right, as the person who oversees the care for your loved one, I think one thing to understand is that can make your life so much easier is you're the director, not the dictator, right? So everything doesn't have to be perfect, but you can direct people. People are looking to you for what action they should take.
That was so good. Oh my gosh. I wish I had known that, right? Because I was absolutely the dictator. I need this, we need it today, et cetera, et cetera. But the director, I love that.
Yeah. So we're the director of this thing that is playing out with our loved one. And we can make our journey easier. We can make their journey easier, and the journey of our families and friends around us a little easier if we just can be more open about what we need, or at least, sit down and write a letter to yourself and ask yourself, what do I need?
Exactly. I think another piece too is even when you're ready to ask for what it is you need, it's how you ask. It's how you ask. A lot of times, like you said, that whole dictator. Are you a dictator? You look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you a dictator?
My answer would be, oh, yes.
Yeah. And mine was too. I hate to admit it, but I was too. And so I had to learn how to change my tone. And how to really ask in a way that it would be received and heard, right? Yeah.
And understand that not everybody is comfortable doing everything that you're doing. You may not be comfortable doing it, but you're stepping up and you're doing it. And what happens is we ask people to do things that they're not comfortable doing, then they don't step up, and then we build resentment. And that just isn't healthy in any family or friendship dynamic at all. And that includes not just siblings, but your children or a parent if you're caring for a spouse, you know. So just keep that in mind and try to find positive ways to ask.
Right. And we know that in 10 minutes, we can't even begin to scratch the surface about family dynamics. There are so many aspects of family dynamics, and we want to address that. So write to us, reach out to us for me, it's Nadine at TCG Cares and
Lori at CarePartnersResource.com. Talk to you next week.
Bye.